Hi everyone, Bree Medine here, going to talk to you a little bit about major depressive episode. So I'll start by just letting you know a little bit about the DSM criteria. These are things that you would need to have presenting in order to be diagnosed with major depressive episode. Some of these things include a depressed mood, diminished interest in pleasure of daily activities, perhaps significant weight loss or weight gain, insomnia, agitation, fatigue, loss of energy, feelings of worthlessness or guilt, diminished ability to think, concentrate, or make decisions, perhaps even recurrent thoughts of death or suicide attempts. And these symptoms need to be present without the effects of being on a substance. So, what are some causes of major depressive disorder? We've learned a lot that many mood disorders are not just caused by one thing. It could be biological, psychological, social, all three of those things, perhaps one or two. But more and more recently, we're discovering that social factors have a profound effect on whether depression is triggered. In Anoka County, mental health is in the top 10 of issues that are currently challenging individuals in the area. And the main concern there in this area is the fact that there's an inadequate number of providers for the increase in mental health illness that we see. So I was wondering then, what were some of those societal factors in my area that might be contributing to this concern? Because we know after completing this class that societal factors can have a profound effect on depression. And so major stressors in your life can worsen those symptoms for you. According to Anoka County Community Health and Environmental Services, there's several things that are taking place that are concerning. One is the limited availability of affordable housing. There are concerns about public transportation limitations. How do people get to and from work and perhaps mental health treatment? Too few providers for those needing mental health, as I've already mentioned. There's a rise in poverty, an increase in diversity. Now you might ask, what does an increase in diversity have to do with a concern? But reason being is if there's already too few providers available for those that need mental health assistance, let's imagine what this might be for someone who doesn't speak English or perhaps has a different cultural background than the majority. That even more increases the limitations for help. We have an increase in obesity and a rise in alcohol and drug use. Of course, that rise in alcohol and drug use stems from probably all of those things combined. I don't think there's an opportunity now that we don't turn on the news and hear something about heroin. And I know myself, seeing students in the past several years, there has been an increase in opioid use and a very, very big concern with that. So according to the National Mental Health Advisory Council, 5.6 million Americans suffered from some type of severe mental illness. These numbers are astounding. And of those, top 3 significant mental illnesses, one of them happens to be major depression. So we can see that it is definitely an issue that needs to be addressed. And again, I just feel like I need to reiterate this. In Anoka County, there's nearly 1,800 residents per one mental health provider. So some legal things that come along with mental illness is that people with mental illness have both the right to treatment and the right to refuse treatment. So let's say, for example, a mental health professional believes that a client's not capable of making the best decisions, then in that case, they may be able to have this person committed to get the help that they need. There were several lawsuits filed in the 70s and 80s that helped to establish this right. It gives people the right to get the help that they need. Of course, this has to be done in a facility with the least restrictive environment. And that was a problem in the past that I'm sure we are all aware of. On the other hand, there are some that argue the fact that patients have the right to refuse treatment. And this debate continues to have complicated dealings with in the legal system. Unfortunately, as you know, we're seeing more and more people turning to suicide as a way to deal with their mental illness. Just this week, another incredibly talented person, Chris Cornell, took his own life. I myself work at a public high school in the area, and several years ago we had 6 students commit suicide in just 1 year, which is absolutely tragic. It almost seemed to be contagious, if you would. So definitely something that we need to be aware of and vigilant of. I'd like to tell you that there's things that we should try to remember about mental illness that sometimes all of us fall into the problem of forgetting. And it doesn't mean that a sufferer is a bad person. They could be the type of person that you would love to have as a friend. Remember that what we see in movies isn't always an accurate reflection of mental illness. There's this huge stigma associated with mental illness that often prevents us from recognizing the good that encompasses those that live on a day-to-day basis with a mental illness. And I would encourage all of us to educate ourselves and our children or our friends to recognize this and work to try and remove that stigma in hopes of helping those that have to daily endure with all of this mental illness. So I thought I'd try to take this opportunity to explore what it feels like for someone that's in a depressive episode. The book that we read this week was incredibly moving for me. I have definitely been enlightened to what it's like to live through depression, which I wasn't aware of. I mean, I had an idea, but I really learned a lot this week. So here's some that I wanted to just point out to you. For example, the feeling of being completely isolated and imprisoned within yourself. Being compelled to see a truck coming down the street and imagining yourself stepping in front of it just to get sweet relief. Noise being so painful you cannot stand to be around it. Time standing still during depression. It seems to move like molasses in January. I move my tongue, but no sound comes out. I've forgotten how to talk. I was on my back. I wanted to turn over, but I couldn't remember how to do that either. Andrew Solomon. The pain is unrelenting, and it's intolerable to know that no remedy will ever come. Not in a day, a month, or a minute. Mild relief is only temporary, and more pain will follow. It is this hopelessness, even more than pain, that crushes the soul. So I think it's important to know that there is help available, especially to those that don't have insurance. And a lot of people that do suffer with mental illness oftentimes are in a lower income bracket and may not have insurance available to them. So in that case, there's help for you. So just to name a few places within Anoka County that you can go that are emergency facilities. Here they are. One is Crisis Intervention Assessment. This is at Mercy Hospital. No age restriction. You can walk in any time. There's 24-hour assistance. They'll help with mental health needs and referrals to get you the help that you need. Also, Crisis Connection. This is a 24-hour crisis hotline offering counseling and referrals and crisis intervention. Mental Health Crisis Services of Anoka County. This is a 24-hour mobile mental health crisis service for children and adults. They'll come to you, which is phenomenal. Riverwind Mental Health Crisis Services. This serves adults of any age who are experiencing symptoms due to mental illness. This also helps with substance abuse and behavior concerns. So this is a great resource too. Also, I thought I'd include the GLBT Kids Abuse Intervention Program. A lot of times, people that are living with being a GLBT student or child, are suffering a lot of depression because there's a lot of heavy issues that come with those feelings. So this particular program offers support, referrals, resources, training, and connections for any youth who are experiencing abuse, bullying, mistreatment, or just need to talk about things that they're experiencing. Emotions Anonymous is another one that I thought I'd throw in here. It's a 24-hour answering machine. People come together at weekly meetings for the purpose of working toward recovery from anything, could be anger, depression, anxiety, etc. I also included just a few of the facilities in the area that have therapists who specialize in depression. Riverview Counseling Center, Genuine Therapy Center, North Suburban Counseling Center, Rum River Counseling Center, and Affiliated Counseling Center. So I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that I can leave all of us with the idea that mental illness is real. It's a struggle for more people than we know, probably even those real close to us, and just to keep being vigilant and helping others understand the stigma associated with this, and that there's help available, and we can do our part to make those changes for the community. So thank you very much. Have a good one, guys.